Welcome back to Passionate Percussion. I'm very glad that you're here on this drumming journey with us. We are going over the 40 essential rudiments, the 40 basic rudiments that you need to know in order to be able to play drums. Once you have these rudiments, these essential rudiments, that will help you to play anything that you want on the drums. We will also go over notation. That will be in another series, but for right now, we're going to go over those 40 essential rudiments. This will enable you to be able to play by ear, to be able to hear something and recognize what it is that you're listening to. And one of the ways that I like to compare it is if you play piano or you play another instrument, you can think of it as the chords of drumming. All right, you could think of it as the scales of drumming. These are the foundations and the building blocks of drumming. With that, we're going to do a quick review on the last video that we did. We went over how we're going to hold our sticks and our form. Right? What are the basic things that you need to know in order to hold a stick, in order to play an actual drum, in order to hit the drum, and how you can develop that muscle. So without further ado, we're going to go into that. One thing that I didn't cover in the last video is how you do want to hit your drum. All right, so what I will say is this: when you hit the drum, you want to try to squeeze that stick. You hit and squeeze. You don't want to push down with your shoulder or your arm. Again, what I reviewed in that last video, remember we did the high, okay, to raise that stick up. It's the same thing when you're going back down. You notice I didn't go all the way down. I didn't move my arm. It was just my wrist. And what I did, I squeeze it just a little bit to stop it from just resting on the drum, okay? You don't want to just have your stick do this, because then you will lack control completely. When it's time to play, you won't know what's coming next. All right, you don't want to use your entire arm and elbow to try to play the drum. Again, that lacks a lot of control and you will not be able to play what you're thinking to play in your mind. All right, so with that being said, in this review, the first thing we went over, of course, is how to hold your sticks. And again, you have that fulcrum grip for your right hand between that index and thumb, your supporting cast, your last three fingers. You have the left hand, where if you're doing traditional grip in that fulcrum, I find it easier to put the last two fingers, which is the 4 and 5, which is pinky and ring finger, under the stick, and then the index and middle finger over the stick. Again, that fulcrum grip, very important. Okay, that's traditional. This is match, where they both match. All right, traditional, it was this way because the sticks in the colonial times had a slant. I'm sorry, the drums in the colonial times had a slant. So that's one thing you want to remember. And then we had our warm-ups. We had the high. You can do this with either hand. If you're doing match grip, you want to make sure that you're doing it with both. And then you had the clapping hands that you can do. This develops your forearm and the strength in this portion of your arm. Okay, so remember to do those things every time when you're warming up. Those are some of the things that you want to practice to get stronger at. And you could do it at any time. You can do it any time of day. You don't have to just do it when you're practicing. You can just, when you're going to sleep, when you wake up, you could do it at any point in time. As long as your hands are there and they're working, you can do that. You can wave high. Right? You could do the so-so. Right? That was the other thing we reviewed for traditional grip. Now we get to hitting that drum. Like I said, when you hit the drum, you want to make sure that you're not pushing down, because that's the sound you'll get. Now, in today, a lot of people are using that. It's called a buzz roll, and we'll go over that a little bit later. But in this particular instance, that's what that is. But if you're not doing it on purpose, and you're just pushing down the sticks, you'll never really hear anything on the drum. Okay? So in order to project that sound and to push your sound out so that people can actually distinguish what you are playing, you want to hit and grab with that proper form. Hit and grab. Okay, same thing with the left hand. If you're doing traditional, hit and squeeze. And the thing is about this, it's a little bit easier in that left hand to not mess it up, because you have these supporting cast fingers here where you would have to literally bring your hand up to keep it there. So it's a little bit easier. All right, one thing I will say, to keep your sticks looking clean, you want to keep your wrist as close as possible to that drum. All right, you don't want to have your hand here, because guess what? you missed your drum. Okay, you have it too low, you can't hit the drum. So once you keep it here, you have a good level of where your stick starts and where it ends. Okay, so you start here, you get to here, and then you come back down. All right, what I like to do is a full extension for when you are playing. When you're practicing initially, you want to do full extensions. And the reason for this is you're getting a full range of motion in your muscles. Again, this is a workout. You are developing muscles in your arm so that you can get stronger, better, have better control, and be able to play whatever you want. Okay, so the goal here is to get you to be at a level that you never thought that you could be at. All right, so with that being said, we're going to go over the single strokes. We kind of previewed that in the last video, but here we're going to go over it completely. Before we do, we're going to go over the 4 families of rudiments. There are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. However you want to count it, there are 4 families of rudiments. And what they are the rolls or strokes, the drag or rough, the flams or flams, and the diddle family. Again, that's the rolls, drags, flam, and diddle family. Rolls, drags, flam, and diddle. Remember that these are the building blocks of everything. Everything you play will have one of those families. All right, you play anything. This single strokes are part of the roll family. The roll family comprises of pretty much playing the same thing on each hand. All right, and what do I mean by that? So single strokes is called single strokes because it's one hit, single hit on each hand. Single strokes, 1, 1, 1, 1. One hit on each hand, 1. That's it. Okay, so single strokes is just that. Single strokes, 1 stroke, 1 roll. And if you're doing the roll, that's when you have them closed. You're going to be close. Okay, it's a little bit closer. They're not as open, which means they're a little further apart. When you're practicing these rudiments, what I like to do is a full extension. And the reason for that is I feel that it gets you a little bit stronger when you're playing because you're getting that full range of motion. So when you're first starting off, when you're practicing these rudiments, you want to make sure that you're bringing that wrist all the way up. And here's a key thing to remember. When you're playing, it might feel more comfortable to hit and then have your hand here. Okay, we want to make sure that you keep it low. You hit, you stay there, you don't raise the stick until it's time to hit. Okay, this is home. You want to stay home. You don't want to run away. Okay, stay home. You start here, bring your stick up to hit, and then you hit the drum. When you do it fast, it's not going to freeze here. Okay, but you want to get that full extension. Okay, when you're playing, okay, and these are single strokes. These are your single strokes. Single, 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 single. All right, single strokes. That is your first rudiment of the day. All right, and this is part of the roll family. Remember the 4 families? You have roll, drag, flam, and diddle. You can do it in any order, okay, but that's just the one I stuck to for this video. So roll, drag, flam, diddle. Single strokes, single stroke roll. That's what this is. All right, that last one was a diddle, but we're not going to worry about that. Okay, so I'll show it one more time. Again, these are single strokes. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, subscribe. Don't forget, if you can walk, you can drum.